The eighth lesson is a reading from the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 1 through verse 14. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that had been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light that shines in the darkness, and the darkness shall not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning that light, that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light. He came only as a witness to the light. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decisions or a husband's will, but born of God. And the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. And we have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. The gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. Thanks be to God. Recently, a reading I had about a poem. It was really a poet's writing of a letter. Expressed the grief that surrounds Christmas for some. And I think we all, when we get to a certain age, experience a little bit of grief. Well, there wasn't the magic that there was when I was 6. You know? And beyond that, as we get older and older and life changes happen, we look back on Christmases and if only we could recapture that. And this poet, you might have heard of him, his name's Rilke, he was writing to his friend, and his friend was depressed because his friend was stuck in it's a legitimate depressive things around the holidays without a loved one near him. And what Rilke was trying to say to him was that think of the birth of Christ as something that's going to happen. Not that happened in the past. Think about Christ as someone who's being born today. So, a little cheesy, but our manger doesn't have one of those plastic babies in it. It's just prepared room for the Christ child to be born in us. For this to be the Christmas that maybe one day we'd hope we'd look back on and say, instead of celebrating the season by looking back and lamenting on what was so glorious about the past, realizing that the birth of Christ is something that has already happened and yet will happen. And may Christ be born in your heart.